Welcome to Trainmatic.
So you've now logged in and you're ready to show the system. Basically on the right hand side is the map view, or your visual reference. Each diamond with the registration of the vehicle is obviously a vehicle. We zoom in by pressing that plus or minus sign there. The little arrow means the vehicle is moving, so if we click on that vehicle there, it will show the vehicle moving at 71 miles per hour. The ignition is on. You'll have a details tab, a zoom tab and a histories tab, which speaks for itself. The details tab shows where they've been for that day, and that's the general view of the map. And I'll talk you through what the map and how it does and just how it works in just for a second. On the left hand side is a written reference for each vehicle, and again we can choose a vehicle by picking a number plate. Obviously these are private number plates in this customer's case, and if you just click on it, it takes us to that vehicle, like so. We can expand this view by clicking these two arrows here, and that gives us vehicle registration, the location, current odometer reading, current speed, and the last update. Although we don't like to show this, the last update is not when it was updated and when you can see the details. It's more of a GPS location data. The system is actually updated every first 30 seconds, depending on the customer's requirements. So we can also adjust, if we put the mouse pointer in the center, we can hold down the left mouse button, we can actually adjust the size of the map or the view, depending on the customer. And obviously as many users, there's no unlimited users can use the system. So let's talk about the map view. If we click on the details tab, that will show us details of that vehicle for the day. In that case the vehicle hasn't done anything, so let's pick this one instead. So with the last details, let's say, so here's the details for that vehicle. Let's pick one with an arrow which shows you for that day. So this one is moving, so let's click that. There we go, there's Tuesday the 27th. And remember, a journey is engine on to engine off, so 11:16 to 13:08, parked at Bunston, St Andrew, England for 1 hour and 51 minutes. We can also click on the alerts tab as well to see if there's any usage that it should have done in the last few days. Okay, so that's and there's obviously the zoom tab and the histories tab. These little boxes at the top is this button is a measurement tool. So if we want to measure from there, left mouse click, and just click there, left mouse click, and it shows us the distance. It's quite useful. This plus sign is for a geozone. So a geozone is where we want to highlight an area or a location, and then every time that vehicle enters that location, it registers on the system. We can see what time they've arrived at a location, or if they've arrived at work or left home. Or you can have it as a no-go area. So if you had it in the congestion zone, it will let you know when they've gone into that area. So let's click location. A little circle arrives at the end of the pointer. Let's say this junction here is customer's location. Click the left mouse button, move the arrow. Left mouse button again, move the arrow. Left mouse button, left mouse button, left mouse button. Double click, and that registers as a geozone. So again, if a vehicle is coming along the M4 and enters this, we all know what time they've arrived at that location or when they've left it. And also it's useful if you're a customer's delivery address. If the vehicle is, let's say we set the proximity warning down the bottom here to 1 mile, it will alert the customer that that vehicle is 1 mile away, so get ready, open the doors for the delivery area and we're ready to go, which is quite useful. Cancel. This tab here is for the layers, so if you like you can see a street satellite view. So if we zoom in we can see what it would look like if we were literally flying overhead, like so. And this button is the Google button. If we click the Google button, it takes us into the Google Maps. The old Google Maps are better than the new ones in our opinion. It's easier to navigate. But it takes care of where that vehicle is, puts it in Google Maps, and then you can use all the Google facilities. For example, looking at where traffic is, You can use Street View, so if we click on Street View like so, it will show us what that vehicle is looking at. So obviously this vehicle is on the M4, and this is what he'll be looking at. Now this obviously is not real time, but the vehicle location is in real time, which again is quite useful. Okay. This button here is a search button. So if we click the search button and we type in postcode, it'll take us to that location. It'll give us options of what's coming up at that location. So we know that this is Uttlesford. Click on it and it will take us to that location, and we can then, if we wanted to, for example, geofence that location as a customer or somebody's home. Okay. So that's the map. Actually, before we go on, this is the lock button. If we click on lock, it will virtually lock the vehicle. So if we set a distance, if it goes past that distance, it could be just a few meters or miles, then again we'll get notified. At the top here, the alerts tab shows us the alerts that we've set for that customer. So if a customer, in this case, this customer wants to know if a vehicle is not moving but the engine is running for longer than 30 minutes, then they're notified of that. If they've set it that you want to be notified if somebody, let's say, is 20% over the speed limit of a certain lane or road, then again they'll be notified, or it will register on the system. The other tab is map view. This gives us a larger map view, so this is useful if somebody in an office wants it on a big screen and wants to set that up so that if they have many vehicles, they want to see that overview of the whole of the UK or where have you. So you can see quite clearly where all the vehicles are. So the histories tab down the left hand side, you can access history from the map view as I've shown you when you click on a vehicle, but also there's always 2 or 3 ways of accessing the information. So if we select a vehicle and then we select a date, so let's go back a couple of weeks ago, we can see what that vehicle was doing on that date, and then you can replay a trip if you wanted to see what they were doing, or replay it back to a particular driver. Just change the map view back to street so we can see where it is, and then you click play, and then it will run through that route, speeds, etc, etc, and then you can zoom in as normal and see where they were. Now, where the system comes into its own is the reporting side. This is obviously what I've shown you is the basics of logging into the system and seeing where a vehicle is and various other tools. But what we can do is we can identify what the business does and then match up certain reports to certain departments within that business. So for example, if we want a servicing department or a mechanic to know when a vehicle service is due, we can set the system up to send an email to him when a service is due every 20,000 miles on a particular vehicle. So when it reaches 20,000 miles, they get that information. We may want the managing director to know when somebody is misbehaving, i.e. if somebody's regularly breaking all the rules and speeding and harsh braking, and that's called a driver behaviour report. And then we might want somebody else to know when they go into the congestion zone in London, or someone else to know when what time they're going to arrive in at their work location or when they've left. And also if somebody's been using the vehicle in the evenings or at the weekend, where they've been, how long they've been using it for, is also very useful. And those reports are already here, but we will set it up as a scheduled report. So this customer has a scheduled weekly management report every Saturday at 8 o'clock, and they send it to themselves, and what that shows is idling. It shows a zone report, i.e. when they've arrived at their locations, because this customer uses it as a timesheet, and also when if they've been speeding or any particular event that's happening that they've set. And that's pretty much it. So that's the basics of the system, but again, remember, the system doesn't just do where you log on and see where somebody is like this. This is just part of the system. Okay, the main part of the system is to identify different areas and different reports so that it cuts down on costs and fuel, and also increases the productivity of the business. And that is in general the overview of the system.